Good evening, everybody. Good evening, hello. How are you? How are you all doing this evening? Tell me who you are, where you're from. We got 51 joining us so far. Hopefully that'll go up a little bit. Just a quick introduction. I realize there are new people watching this every time, and so I have to remember to do that. My name is Carmella George. I am a VA accredited claims agent. What that means is that there are agencies like the DAV, Disabled American Veterans, American Legion, VFW, Wounded Warrior Project. They all serve veterans as what's called a veteran service organization. They're accredited by the VA as a group. I'm accredited by the VA as an agent, which means I'm individually accredited to present, prepare, and prosecute claims before the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs. And so that's what I do. I love doing it. It is my life's work, and it is a joy. And so about once a month or so, I like to come on and take questions and try to help you all out. I ask you to remember that this is free advice. I have not looked at the entirety of your case file. And so all my answers are coming directly from all the information that you give me, which is very little in the time that we have together tonight. So I ask you to remember, if a VSO or other agent or attorney has reviewed your file, please know that they might have a little bit more insight than I'm able to give you this evening. So let's hop in. We got Union City, Tennessee in the house. Another Tennessee joiner. Captain Jason from California. Mr. Bromwell from the Kennedy Space Center, Florida. That's cool. Tampa, Florida. Chaplain Angela Slocum, North Carolina. Thanks for joining us, Chaplain. Scott from Texas. Fayetteville, North Carolina. That's about an hour, 45 minutes from me. I'm in Jacksonville, North Carolina by Camp Lejeune. Virginia. Awesome. So good to see you all tonight. Somebody said happy birthday to me. Happy birthday. Hope your birthday is going great. Here at the end of April. So I already have some questions, so let's just jump right in. I did a higher level review. VA is now correcting an error. How long are they averaging on these duty to assist errors? Well, it really all depends on what they sent the error back for. If they sent the error back to get some more records that they missed getting, it could be a few weeks. If they get sent the error back to get a new exam where you have to go into the exam, it could be a month or two, just like a regular supplemental claim time frame, 3 to 4 months. If they send it back just to get a medical opinion, I would give it a month or two. It just really depends on what the error is asking for and how involved it is in getting a response to that error or clarification that they need. Mr. Turner said, my doctor gave me a new caregiver app. How do I send it to file it with the VA? You need to contact the social work department at your VA medical center. The social work department at your VA medical center should be able to assist you with the caregiver app. They are the ones who run the caregiver program. So call the hospital, the VAMC closest, ask for the social work department. Had my third CMP today, crossing my fingers. My fingers are crossed with you. Tom has his first medical exam tomorrow for his claim. Retired Navy, Virginia Beach. Basically just tell him what hurts and where it hurts and how it started hurting. That's the gist of it. To make sure they cover everything in that thorough and make sure that you are vocal. If I am appealing my claim, which was denied, how long does it take before I hear anything from the VA? It depends on what appeal route you took. Did you ask for a higher level review or file another supplemental claim? Or are you before the Board of Veterans Appeals? If you are before the Board of Veterans Appeals, it's going to take at least a year for an answer. At least a year. Let's go ahead and get this question out of the way. Captain Jason is asking, am I taking new clients? On a very limited basis at the moment. I am backed up. So I would give me about 2 weeks before you contacted me. Hello, I just got discharged from the psych ward at the VA hospital. My claim for PTSD is at the hearing status. Should I update my representative about this, or will it at least, or is it least likely to make a difference in my case? Yes, you should definitely update your representative, and yes, it can make a difference in your case. You should be calling your representative, emailing them, contacting them as soon as possible to let them know that you just had a recent stint at the hospital with the VA, and they need to get those records, review them, and see how they can help your claim. I hope you're feeling better. Hello, Carmella. I sent you a message. Please forgive me. My inbox is on fire, and I just need some time to get back to everything. What's up, Carmella? Shout out from Boston. Hey, St. Louis. Question. Should I file the nerve damage down each leg together or each leg separate? I have a rating for 30% lower back injury during active duty. You should file each leg separately. Mitch, I'm going to casino boat tomorrow. Oh, that's so cool. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Can a secondary disability occur before a primary was diagnosed? Yes, it can. There's actually some recent case law on this, but it could definitely occur before a primary disability is diagnosed, because a primary disability can aggravate a secondary disability. Last year, reduction proposed to reduce VA found their own Q corrected that proposal. The question is, if a reduction is proposed this year, can that Q from last year be overturned and continue with the proposed reduction from last year? It would take a whole lot for that to happen. That seems like a bit of a stretch of the imagination to foresee that precise line of events. If they have already reversed their position on reducing you, then I probably wouldn't touch that condition again. If you're showing some improvement in it, or if the VA thought you, unless you just got a shoddy examiner, I probably wouldn't touch it again. But those events aren't likely to happen in that way. If that's what you're asking, the likelihood is very little. How long do VAs have to send their CMP exam results to the VA? Because the VA is staying there, still waiting on CMP exams, but I've already finished with those. VES, Veteran Evaluation Services, is the absolute worst at sending results to the VA. What has probably happened is your claim has got installed in their quality assurance department. After the doctor finishes it, they have a quality assurance department that looks over it for any irregularities, any things the doctor might have missed, just to make sure it's complete and thorough, and the VA doesn't have to send it back to VAS. But they end up bouncing back between quality assurance and the doctor a couple times, and it just extends the process and takes forever. The VA really needs to hold, if I have any type of influence on anything, I'm saying this. The VA needs to hold the contractors to greater accountability for timeliness and getting things back to the VA. It does not make sense that it takes a CMP exam 4 months to be returned to the VA. After 4 months, the doctor probably doesn't even remember who you were to be filling out paperwork. So you're asking me how long might it take? It could be a while. How can I find out why my husband's CAVC remand is taking so long? This has been going on for a year. It still states it's waiting to be sent to the judge. This appeal was from 2014. I would contact your attorney. Hopefully at the CAVC level, you have an attorney helping you. If not, I would strongly, very, very strongly advise that you get an attorney. It's one of the few situations where I advise an attorney from the onset to the completion is at the CAVC. It's just too much it's too much of a legal situation not to have an attorney on your side, not a VSO, not an agent, an attorney. Although some agents can practice at the CAVC, so I probably shouldn't say that. But get an attorney and get somebody to help you that can check on the status of your case and BBMS. 11 years ago, I filed a claim. I was already 70% disabled. I was filing for unemployability. April 16, 2021, they finally gave me 100%, but they only back paid me for 1 month of back pay March instead of 11 years of back pay. What's up? They will only pay you for as long as your claim was continuously pursued. So if more than a year passed before the March when you put in the claim, then your claim will only be from the date of claim. It won't go all the way back 11 years to the original date of claim. There are very few situations where a date of claim will go back to the original date of claim to get paid from. I filed a claim for an increase in January with my private DBQs. Today, I received mail from the VA stating that private DBQs I provided were updated and were not sufficient, and that an exam has been scheduled. Oh, you may want to see if you can get the physician that did the private DBQs to just fill out the updated DBQs. Yeah, they can't use the outdated form. But it's good that they at least use the DBQs to prompt you, to get you an exam. So they were good for something, but they won't be good for rating purposes. Missed you. Glad you are back. Hope all is well. Thank you so much. I was sick for a little while last week, but I'm back up and running and trying hard to catch up. My PCM told me I have flat feet. I was prescribed different kinds of insoles for my shoes and boots to wear at night. I saw a podiatrist who asked for x-rays. He diagnosed me with plantar fibromatosis, but said it's congenital. Can I still file a claim for it when I get out? If it happened on active duty, you can file a claim for it. I don't know why they are saying it's congenital, but there might be other podiatrists that disagree because you're still active military. And so I would just make sure that it's noted in your records and that you keep going to get seen for it. It's probably at least, if it's congenital, it's probably at least aggravated by the service. But what in VA land, we have what's called the presumption of soundness. So if it's not marked on your entrance exam, you are presumed to be in sound condition. Would a positive IMO help me fight a proposed reduction for knee instability? Would you recommend Prestige Worldwide Medical Consultant? This is a good question. You don't need an independent medical opinion for proposed reduction. What you need is a DBQ. You need somebody who will write the current severity of your condition down on paper. And yes, I would recommend Prestige Worldwide Medical Consultant. I have worked with them at various times. It's a good company, and I think they do Nexus letters and medical opinions well. The only thing is I don't know if they do DBQs. My PCP diagnosed me with chronic fatigue in January 2020. VA denied chronic fatigue syndrome, saying I don't have a current diagnosis. I'm a Gulf War vet. How can they do that? Are they not viewing the documents? Somebody missed the private document somewhere, and I would ask for a high-level review and argue that you do have a diagnosis. That's an error of fact and law. I filed a claim in 2014. They gave me it in 2020, gave me a 2020 effective date. What can I do? Like I said earlier, it had to have been continuously pursued from them to pay you from 2014. Did any 365 days pass between any two claims? If it did, then that's the date that the continuous pursuit stops and a new date of claim starts. And so if you have been filing a claim every year since 2014, then you have a case. But if you haven't, then you don't, and it's only from the date of claim. I was getting 40% procedures and took it back and gave me 20%. I'm on 2 medications. You might want to fight that proposed reduction up front by asking for a hearing. Hi, Carmella. Big thank you for you, Mike. Hi, Mike from Rhode Island. Little state up there. Little state up there at the top. By the way, they say fatigue is due to my non-service connected sleep apnea and my service connected fibromyalgia and depression and anxiety. Oh, okay. VES is the worst. I tend to agree. Oh no, I think they're rivaled by LHI. I want to file an NOD, but not sure what to include and what not to include. I want to reference BVA decisions in support of my disagreement, or should that not be included? You could definitely include BVA decisions in support of your disagreement. Just make sure you highlight how they're relevant to your claim, what parts of them are relevant, and you write that out in a statement. But in terms of what to include, any elements that's relative to the case and can help prove that you should be service connected for the condition. For seizures, why do you think they did that? If this relates to the earlier question about seizures, they probably did it because you had a CMP that showed a little improvement. What they probably more than likely did improve is that it's improvement under the ordinary conditions of work and life, and that is sustained improvement. And that's what you need to argue in appealing that reduction. there's no sustained improvement. If you get an exam from private provider and get diagnosis, do you have to get a CMP exam? If the VA orders a CMP exam, my advice is to go. Sometimes they will just process the claim without ordering a CMP exam, but these days those situations are few and far in between. And so my advice is that if the VA orders a CMP exam, is to go. Can you still be eligible for 100% disability or inability to work if you are over 62? Yes, age has no bearing in VA disability claims. Age has no bearing in VA disability claims. So you can still work. You can still file a claim and get 100% disability over 62. You can get 100% unemployability after the age of 62. If LHI never submitted any of my military medical records I presented to them for my claims, and I was denied due to no service connection, what should I do? I would appeal. I believe appealing is your best route. Unless you can get new and relevant evidence and submit that, then submit a supplemental claim. I finally got 100% PNT. Thanks for all your advice, Carmella. Yay! Woohoo! That's awesome. I love to see vets win. That's why I do this. How can lymphomia be claimed as secondary as well as vitamin D? You just file a claim for it as secondary. If you're using a paper claim form, you put lymphoma secondary to whatever the primary condition is. If you're filing it online, there should be an option for you. I'm not as familiar with va.gov as I was with eBenefits, but there has to be an option for you to choose to file a secondary claim. Hello, can you please elaborate that 5 years of your disability is static? Is that based on the effective date of the disability? Yes, it's based on the effective date of the disability, and there's certain protections in place for a disability that has been static for 5 years or more. I will say that the VA doesn't adhere to the 5-year protections very well in terms of when it comes to reductions and things like that, but they're of law. And so they're a good way to fight if they attempt to reduce you after you've already been rated with something for 5 years. Our case is on board now after we went to court in February 28th, and we have been waiting over 80 years. They said give them 90 days. What do you think? I would give them more like 6 months. But it's good that you got a remand at the court. When is dental kicking in for us under 100%? I don't know that there are any proposals or legislation that I've seen right now to give dental to those under 100%. I know that you can get a plan through the VA dental insurance program, but you have to pay for that. But I don't know of any plan right now to give dental to those under 100%. I want a Q claim from the RO for 67 months at 30%. I'm appealing to the BVA for a higher rating. That's smart. Can I claim TDIU retroactively for those 67 months if I had not worked at all? You absolutely can. You absolutely can. And good on you for finding the Q and filing the Q. Q is a clear and unmistakable error. I have 3 deferred claims. The VA saying that they don't need anything else from me, and I have an upcoming re-exam for another one. Just wondering why are still deferred for 3 months. It could be still deferred for a lot of reasons. Probably waiting on exam results. That's the most likely reason, but it's not the only reason it could be. They might be waiting on your military personnel record, other federal records, or something like that, which can be a doozy to get sometimes and take forever. But um, contact your representative and have them look into VBMS and see why your claims are still deferred. That's the easiest way to find out why there's the actual reason why they are still deferred. How do we send Carmella a question? You just type it in the comments, type your question in the comments, and I can see them here on my side. Our case is on the board now after we went to court. Okay, I answered that. I've done my intent to file. Should I get my medical records before I actually file my claim? It's helpful, but not necessary. If you kind of know what's in your medical records, I would go ahead and file the claim and not wait. But if you want to reference them for more precise diagnoses and things like that, and make sure you haven't missed anything, you might want to wait. But I would, go ahead and file the claim. And then if other stuff pops up later, file that claim then. What's the best way to pursue my unemployability claim that was partly caused by a denied condition? Okay, so the VA is not going to give you unemployability for anything that has to do with the denied condition. So what you want to do is focus on what's service connected and how that prevents you from working. You don't want to mention anything about the denied condition because you're just going to get denied. It never stopped from the time he filed it. It was always open, but my attorney said when they raised me to 70% for PTSD, that's the date they'll back pay me for, and that was in March of 2021. How is this possible if my claim had been going on since I filed it in December 10th, 2020? It has never lapsed. I've gone to see multiple doctors and CMPs. If it's just an increased claim, then it's only going to go from the date of claim. It's not going to go all the way back. That's what it sounds like it is. I would believe the advice of your attorney in this case. This is kind of something that I would need to see more paperwork on to be able to answer accurately. But it sounds like they told you the right thing. What is the best way for me to address my sleep apnea claim? If you weren't diagnosed with sleep apnea in service or have symptoms of sleep issues in service, then the best way to address it is usually as a secondary claim to something you're already rated for as a primary condition. In your experience, which CMPs are more favorable to the veteran, the ones done by the VA or contractors like VES? My opinion is that the ones done by the VA are more favorable to veterans. And I've seen them from all around the country. That is not to say that the VA exams don't still deny veterans, because lots of them do. I just tend to see more approvals when done by the VA itself. So, yeah, I prefer VA exams. Can you file congestive heart failure secondary to PTSD, trauma, and anxiety? Yes, you can. Our case is on the board now after we went to court in February. Okay, I think I answered that already. I hit my head during a rotation, which is considered TBI if I'm right. I have complained in service for my migraines and I have a whole migraine law that spans from 2019. What best advice will you give me to be able to get rated once I get out? You are absolutely on the right track. I wish everybody would do exactly what you're doing when they're active duty. If you get injured, follow up on it, go to the doctor, keep logs, keep pictures, keep every documentation or get every documentation you can get to prove that your injury happened and that it is a chronic condition. And so you're absolutely on the right track by keeping your log. And I would keep going to the sick call for migraines when you have them. Hello, I was just granted 100% PNT. I have 4 claims that's in the appeal process. Should I cancel them to prevent future examinations? This is a very interesting question. And I say that because I would need to know the facts of the 4 claims in appeals versus what you are already rated for to give you a precise answer. I'm sorry that I can't do that, but I don't want to sway you one way or the other without knowing all the facts because so much is on the line. In the appeal process, there could potentially be a substantial amount of back pay. And so you want to weigh that very carefully. If you feel like the claims are going to be remanded for more exams, I mean, okay. Here's what I will say. You can withdraw the appeal after more exams have been ordered. And so you might want to wait to see how it plays out. You can withdraw the appeal at any time. I usually don't advise withdrawing appeals. And so you might want to let it play out. And if they order an exam, you feel like it's something you already rated for and you don't want to go to that exam, just withdraw it. Hello, Miss George from Jacksonville, Florida. I'm in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Great to see you. Should I get a VA health appointment to get diagnosed with depression secondary to service-connected disabilities, or a CMP examiner would diagnose depression, or go to a private company for diagnosis? You can do either of the 3. My advice would not be to depend on the CMP examiner alone to diagnose it, to have a diagnosis when you go in there. That's the best way to approach it. But if you can't get one from any other source, then go ahead and file it and see what the CMP examiner says. How to get an aid when you're 100% and your paperwork stated you're homebound 100% PTSD. You have to apply for either aid in attendance or the caregiver program through the health side of, through the VHA, Veterans Health Administration, the medical centers and clinics. I have psychosis on my records for disability, but the rating says active psychosis, GW mental, but it doesn't have a rating, not even 100%, not even 0%. What do I need to do to change that? You need to actually file a claim for psychosis and try to get a rating for it. My question is, what kind of discharge did you have? Was it other than honorable, dishonorable, or there's another one that is considered a bad discharge? That might affect you getting a rating. Are you on VA pension? There's a reason why at some point you applied for something and they gave you a 0% for mental. If it's just that they gave you a 0% for mental and you claimed it already, then put in for an increase. Okay, here's my question. I have been diagnosed with major depressive disorder and have a Nexus letter stating my depression is more likely than not caused by service-connected back, hip, knees, and shoulder condition. How do I choose which service-connected condition I claim my depression secondary to? Can I claim depression to all of them? FYI, I have been diagnosed with chronic pain and recurrent major depression, but there's no way to claim chronic pain, right? Okay, to answer your question, you should claim depression secondary to all of them. If it's too difficult to figure out how to do that online, then use a paper form. Say depression secondary to back pain, depression secondary to hip pain, depression secondary to bilateral knee pain, and depression secondary to bilateral shoulder pain. And turn it in. You can also file for chronic pain syndrome, which these days is called somatic symptom disorder secondary to your joint issues. Thank you. Tinnitus claim was denied even though my AFSC is in the highly probable category for the fast letter 1035. I did submit a personal statement and ENT doctor's diagnosis. That's unfortunate. Unfortunately, you're probably going to have to get an outside Nexus letter to get that connected. It probably should have been approved. If you have it, you're in the high probability category, and you submitted a statement and a diagnosis. It probably should have been approved, but just had a shoddy examiner. I see some stuff from audiology sometimes that just makes me shake my head. The reasoning they give behind opinions is long and drawn out, and usually sometimes misses the mark. So it might have just been one of those type of audiologists that will find any type of reason to say no. I was diagnosed with moderate sleep apnea by my VA PCP and provided a CPAP machine. I was wondering if my spinal stenosis herniated disc could have anything to do with me having this condition. It might be able to. I have seen people claim obesity, sleep apnea caused by obesity secondary to back pain, because your back pain causes you to be less mobile and affects your mobility. But you might have to get an outside Nexus letter for that. TDIU, denial reason, vet can still do sedentary work. If they feel you can still do any type of work, you're going to be denied TDIU. Also, last question. I have a few not service-connected decisions on my e-benefits. How can that be changed to service-connected? You're probably, if it's been denied before, going to have to submit new and relevant evidence and submit a supplemental claim. Can you claim chronic fatigue syndrome as secondary to PTSD, migraines, or tinnitus? Yes, you can. I would probably go with the PTSD and migraines, though. Should I submit the QTC questionnaire claim package with my claim? Yes. Fill it out thoroughly, submit it to both QTC, and upload it to your claim. How does the Dependents Educational Assistance work? It's a matter of they pay a stipend for each month you're in college at an approved facility. So it works kind of like BAH works when you were in the military. I believe it's just about the same rate. So my dad was 100% permanent and total. When I went to college, all of those years, I got about $1,000 a month. They don't pay tuition. They don't pay for books. They just pay an outright monthly stipend. Scheduled for HLR for right hip osteoarthritis. Just got service connected for Gulf Wars, GSW through gunshot wound through calf, same side. Should I do HLR or somehow put new info in through a supplemental? Did you specifically claim your right hip as secondary to your right calf gunshot wound? If not, you might want to try that. Or you could put in new info and follow supplemental. You can do either. Both options are valid. I meant to say that psychosis question that it says nothing in the rating, but the decision says active psychosis, GW mental. What do I do to change that? File a claim. Can I be rated for chest pain that I complained and got seen several times, but still x-rays or other tests didn't bring any damage to my chest or heart, but I still have ongoing pains? Yes, you can. What happens to the spouse when the veteran passes? This is a very, very good question, Miss Goodwin. Do the VA forget about the spouse caretaker after death? In a lot of cases, the answer is no. If the death is service connected, it is because of any of the veteran service connected disabilities, or the vet passed on active duty, or the vet passed because he was 100% disabled for a certain amount of years. Um, then the VA pays what is called death and indemnity compensation to the spouse. My mother gets it. Um, it's a great benefit. Is I believe right now it's about $1,300 a month. Is to replace that income that you had coming in from VA disability. It's not the full disability check, but it is something. You get Champ VA, you get military ID if your veteran was 100%. You get the same benefits you would have. You get dependents educational. You get the same access to benefits you had while the veteran was living. What percent can I get for having a Purple Heart? There is no percent for having the award itself or the medal itself. It's just a matter of the disability that you have um, that caused you to get the medal. That's what you want to apply for. Why do you think a CMP examiner would ask about the event in service, and why I thought my disability was related to service for a routine feature exam? I was already service connected. He said it was not. Oh, that's a problem. That's a problem. If it's already service connected, they shouldn't be asking those questions. He might have been a little confused. That's all I can think of. Or didn't read the records beforehand thoroughly. I got my 100% PNT rating recently. Do I go see the VA once a year for my service-connected disabilities to keep my rating? How protected is my rating? My advice is always to go see the VA at least once a year for your disabilities. Just check in, get a physical, tell them what's going on with you. If you have private care, great, use that. But don't go forever, don't get seen for anything. And then how protected is your rating? There are certain protections for VA disability ratings after 5 years, then again after 10 years, and then it's totally protected after 20 years, except for in cases of fraud, outright fraud. So as long as basically you don't touch it or open it again or something like that, you should be fine. What is the average time for an FDC claim decision to be made by the VA? I think right now it's in the about 2 months. That's 60 days. I would say probably around 3 to 4 months is the average time frame. And then I see a lot of claims get kicked out of the FDC program because they just didn't submit everything that was needed, or it prompts what you submitted prompts them to want to order an exam or something like that. Migraine claims talk about effect on your work, but I am retired, so how does that work for me? It would you just answer the question as if you were working. How would it affect you if you were working? Like, how does it affect you in your everyday life? You have to stop what you're doing when you're doing it. If you have to stop what you're doing when you have a migraine, then you would have to stop what you're doing if you were working with a migraine. That's one way to look at it. What happens when your claims are deferred with pending examination addendum? They needed some type of clarification from the examiner, and so that's why they deferred it. And that is pending that clarification. So that's called an addendum to the examination, when they send some more information to go with the examination. Can I get plantar fasciitis, service connected to my knees? You certainly might be able to. I can't guarantee it, but it's a valid connection. Thank you, Carmella. I'll let you know when I won this one. Right now, I'm 100% PNT with SCML aid and attendance. You go living in Mexico. Sounds like you know what you are doing, and you might need to be helping other veterans. I got in an accident because of meds from the VA. From the VA broke my teeth. Why couldn't I get dental? You might be able to get dental under a 1151 claim. If you believe VA care caused your disability, then you need to file what's called a 1151 claim that the VA messed you up basically, and try to get that service connected for dental. I got approved for tinnitus but denied for PTSD migraines. My attorney feels we can get my PTSD approved without connecting my condition as secondary to tinnitus. Is this a good strategy? Your attorney has reviewed your whole case and is probably very knowledgeable in VA benefits law, so I would believe what they said. If they feel like they can get it outright, they probably can. Is a Nexus letter needed for a TDIU claim unemployability? In some instances, it is. Like if you've been denied by the VA already and you need new evidence to reopen the claim, that's one instance where you might need a Nexus letter. How does VA view CTS claims? I was a jet mechanic 7 years and 2 months. In my opinion, independent medical opinion, neurology, and occupational hand therapist. Have two independent medical opinions, neurology and occupational hand therapist. What else might be good to have or let it go? Cubital tunnel syndrome. How does VA view? I mean, it's a very valid claim, especially being a mechanic for 7 years. My question is, did you complain about it in service? If not, the 2 IMO should help a lot. But I think you have what you need to file a claim. I was in the hospital for severe arthritis while active duty for 14 days. I have service connected for arthritis in my right knee from surgery, but now have arthritis in my neck, feet, and hands. Is this something I should file for based on my hospital stay while active duty? My question is, what parts of the body did the condition affect while you were on active duty? That might be what you want to focus on, or you could try to file the things secondary to your right knee. But what exactly was the diagnosis when you were in the hospital for severe arthritis for 14 days? Did they say anything about your neck, feet, and hands then? Or did you get x-rays of all body parts? What happened? Follow that trail. I filed OSA secondary to sinusitis, rhinitis, and GERD due to aggravation. CMP examiner, IMO, based on a causation, not aggravation. So what? I resubmitted supplemental for inadequate exam and non-facts and should have no probative value. No medical literature to demonstrate these conditions cause OSA. Oh, okay, I get what you're saying now. The CMP examiner only addressed causation and not aggravation. In that case, you should ask for HLR and argue that aggravation needs to be addressed. I thought you were saying they denied it when the CMP examiner said it was caused by, not aggravated by. That would have been a load of, yeah. Our case is on the board now after we went to court. I think I answered that already. You should expect about a 6-month wait. So if I'm a reservist getting ready to retire, what are the first steps to file for claims? I've never filed but feel like I should. So first thing you should know is that only your active duty time counts in terms of claims. What did you go to sick call for while you were on active duty that you can claim? Um, the other first step I would give you is to go find a VSO, veteran service officer, in your local community and rely on them to help you file your claims and guide you to getting service connected. Other than honorable discharge, answer to the psychosis question, yes. Okay, if you have other honorable discharge, the VA might have presumed you to have a discharge that is a bar to benefits. And so they gave you psychosis because you can still get health care for it, but you can't be service connected for it. So I would focus on two things: either trying to overcome the character determination the VA made, if there's still time to appeal, or focus on getting a discharge upgrade. My husband filed for IU in 2015, which was denied. We appealed it and it was again denied. We filed for an HLR with an attorney after the denied appeal. The HLR found a duty to assist error regarding the unemployability and not gathering all of the relevant documentation. We just received a new 218940 requesting it to be filled out and turned in with the new information, with new evidence, but lawyer says not stated not to submit anything else. We want to make sure we do everything we can to ensure it. This is a tough situation. First of all, I can't see the rest of your question. 1 second. Let me see if I can see it on. See the rest of your question. So I don't have all the question. I have not seen everything your attorney has seen, and I'm a little hesitant to answer this because there is an attorney involved. There's no harm in getting a second opinion, though, but you want to get an informed second opinion, somebody that has seen all the evidence. If the VA is asking for something, there's a reason, but your lawyer might have a different strategy. And so you might just want to question the lawyer and ask the reason, not to submit anything else. Ask him why and how that is going to benefit your case. If you have other information and the VA is willing to accept it, you want to make sure that you completely understand your attorney's strategy and follow them moving forward. Can I file for insomnia secondary to migraine? If I have to do a CMP exam, would I put my migraine rate in danger of reduction? Yes, you can file for insomnia secondary to migraines, and it should not put your migraine rate in danger. Why is it so hard to connect needs when you have back, hip, and feet disability? That is a very good question that I don't have an answer for. It is difficult. I got reduced to 70% from 100% PNT. Can I send in a 4138 with a DBQ that gave me 100%, which hasn't expired with buddy statements? If it hasn't expired, you can send in a 4138, but you need to do it with a supplemental claim. But did you request a hearing on the reduction or try to appeal the reduction in any form yet? You might want to ask for a higher level review and argue that the VA hasn't proved that there's been sustained improvement and go that direction. I really would need this one of those where I will need to see more facts before I can give you a straight direction, but fighting it is the best option. Please do something. I am 40% for migraines, hypothyroidism. I need to file by May 4th for MST, PTSD, and obstructive sleep apnea. Okay. Our case is on the board now. Okay, I answered that. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Good evening, Miss Carmella. Good to see you. I have 2 questions, if that's okay. Yes, that's perfectly fine. Can new claims be added to a secondary claim, or should new claims be filed separately? And is there a limit on each claim condition per claim? And how far back can back pay be paid for a denied claim, or is it from the date to pay from the time of an intent to file? A new claims can be added to a supplemental claim, but you need to file another supplemental claim form. There's no limit to in the number of conditions on claim. I have one client who has 32 conditions on his claim right now. I mean, it's taken a while for the exam to come back, but claim what needs to be claimed. How far can back pay be paid? It can be back paid back to the beginning of time if that's when you filed your claim and it's been continuously pursued since then. But the general rule and most likely date is the date of the intent to file, the date of claim. I'm interested in becoming a claims rep. If you know, what are the steps to becoming an accredited claims agent? Thank you. Okay, so first of all, you have to apply. The process these days is taking about 1.5 years because COVID drew things out and they stopped giving the test for a little while. So it's taking about 1.5 years now. You have to apply, go through a background check, what they call a character and fitness review, submit 3 written references, and see how the process plays out for there. There is a Facebook group for claims agents, VA claims agents. Type that in Facebook search and join that group and ask all the questions you want to ask. I'm so depressed I can't even put my paperwork in. I did an intent to file on May 4, 2020. I would strongly encourage you to get a representative ASAP. Let them take the burden off of you and file the paperwork. The 4th is on Monday, Tuesday. And so you don't have a lot of time. Get somebody that can help you file that paperwork and get it taken care of. You really need to get some help so you can get that filed. If the doctors that saw me in a CMP exam stated I suffered from depression and PTSD, but not noted whether it was service connected, how do I get someone to re-look at that since it was an error on their part? They likely noted whether it was service connected or not. It would be very, very strange for them not to have. I would relook at your file. It might be on a different piece of paper called a medical opinion. But that's if they didn't, that's definitely an area you want to get a representative and get somebody to look into. I received my new rating of 100% P&T. However, I have several that were deferred. How do I submit the DBQ for deferred claims after the CMP exam? You just upload them to the claim. I just lost another job, my dad, another boyfriend, because I did not call him for 2 days. I still have 1 job left. Boyfriends don't get, I am sad. I'm sorry to hear this, Miss Veronica. Message me. I might be able to help you because we really need to get your claim filed before the 4th. And I understand that you're going through a lot of things. Just know you're not alone. And we are here to help. And you might want to go to the VA and try to get some help with these things too. What is the best way to get a disability as service connected when it currently states not service connected? New and relevant evidence and a supplemental claim. I'm rated at 90%, 70% PTSD, 50% sleep apnea. My decision was granted in November of 2020. I recently filed for TDIU migraines. What are the chances that introducing my rating, even though I was just rated less than 6 months ago, if I was not approved for TDIU? You have just as much chance as you don't. It's a 50-50 shot. Correction, I was rated at 90, 70% for PTSD, 50% for sleep apnea in November 2020. I recently applied for my question. It's been 6 months. It's my decision. I'm going to all my appointments and taking all my medication. Can they reduce my rating if I'm not approved for TDIU? They can, but it's probably not likely with all the treatment you're getting and everything. Going for TDIU is always a gamble because you have to go through re-examination, and that's just something you have to weigh, whether you think it's worth it or not. Filed claim claustrophobia June 2011. Denied twice. Filed HLR April 2020. CMP exam on April 5th, 2021. Service Connect April 6th, 2021 with 30%. My symptoms total 70% over 5 CMP exams. Filed supplemental claim. Thoughts? I think you're taking the right action. I think you're taking the right action. They need to look at the whole recorded history of the condition and rate you appropriately. What happens after the BVA grants a claim but corrected an error? The appeal is open. What now? It goes back to the regional office for them to rate the claim. Can a static rating ever be reduced? Yes, it can. I've seen it before when you put in a claim after something has been deemed static and it shows improvement or sustained improvement, then they will reduce it. That's why you have to be careful in deciding when to file new claims and when to file increases, and just make sure that it's actually getting worse by the criteria of the law rather than just willy-nilly putting in claims, just to claim stuff. Is there a typical time frame for how long it takes the VA to obtain medical records? I was told they had my stuff in December, but now all my claims are deferred except tinnitus, while they obtain treatment records. I called and they said they need them. I was like, filed in October and still awaiting. In my opinion, one of the longest waits is when they were waiting for federal records. I don't know what's going on with the archives or the Personnel Record Center or whatever, but I have claims waiting over a year for them to retrieve federal records. And it's a shame it takes that long, but it can be one of the longest waits. What form do I submit for SMCK? The 526EZ. Do you do claims for veterans? Yes, I'm a VA claims agent. I just recently got a diagnosis of OSA. Should I file it secondary to PTSD? Is that the best connection? Are migraines, tinnitus, vertigo a better option? PTSD is probably the best connection, but honestly, I would file it secondary to all of them. Let the VA decide. If I file for type 2 diabetes secondary to depression with weight gain, does the VA consider that my diabetes were hereditary since my parents had diabetes? They could take it into consideration, but likely not. The depression should outweigh that. Have you ever seen a claim where for combat PTSD that did not require a CMP exam. I have not. Hello, Ms. Carmella. I recently PM'd you and was just curious if you check and respond to PMs. I do, but I have a inbox that's blowing up right now itself, and then I have a set of new and spam messages. Well, they call them spam. They're probably not spam, but they're in the other box that I haven't even looked at yet and probably won't get to for at least another week. So I do respond. It's just that my time frames right now are off because I was a little sick for a week. And so please just give me some time. I have a year from retirement and strongly in need of a good VA rep to help with my records. Do you have points of contact I could use besides yourself because I know your book? Yes, I do. Message me and ask me for other references and I will give you some. This is great. I don't want anybody to wait on me. Go ahead and get somebody good on your side and file your claim. Left hip claim is in. Right hip denied in 2019. CMP on Friday. Question is, will VA consider both claims? X-ray shows mild to moderate osteoarthritis in both hips. No, they will just consider the left hip. If I file an intent to file, can I file multiple separate claims within that year, or does the first claim erase that intent to file? The first claim erases that intent to file. Okay, another question. If the initial denial was in 2004 and denied several times, but intent to file with new evidence in 2020, which date would they backdate to? Or does backdate have to be asked for specifically back to 2004? It will likely be from the date of claim in 2020, unless you continuously pursued the claim all the way since 2004. And you don't have to ask, they'll figure it out, along the way. Now I have been rated for migraines. Chiari, is it possible to connect the disabilities associated with Chiari? Yes. I just wanted everyone to know that the virtual claims clinic they have been having are really helpful. Louisville is hosting one in May. Yes, if you have questions about your VA claim, these virtual claims clinics are a great time to call and talk to someone who actually knows what they're talking about and get some help, especially for things that are clear errors and that should have been straightened out, like effective dates or back pay dates and things like that, or to get audits on your account. Make sure there's a proper accounting of all your money. Those virtual claims clinics are really helpful. And when they start holding them in person again, please go if there's one in your area. The VA lost my 0% for flat feet rating back in 2006. I was rated by the same examiner who did my PTSD exam, which is at 50%. I filed again and told them they lost my 0%. I had an exam, was found to not be service connected. I sent for all my info via the Freedom of Information Act. Should I go ahead and get a higher level review for my denied claim? I might, yes. If I filed for increase for PTSD, can I also file secondary insomnia? You can, but there's really no point because you can only be rated for one mental health condition. So if you have insomnia too, they're just going to call it PTSD with insomnia and give you one rating. Done all my claims with success. Just filed sleep apnea as a secondary. Didn't submit any forms. Is that okay? Figured I was diagnosed by VA and did sleep study with them. Received CPAP machine from them as well. Yes, that is okay. How can I find out when is my next medical records review for my current disability? Or what my rating code to see when my next routine future exam is if I have it or not. Get a representative who can get you your rate and code sheet, um, or request it via the Freedom of Information Act and Privacy Act. That's the easiest way to get it is just to get a representative with VBMS access. My remand was returned to the board on October 29th. How long does it take for it to be sent to the judge? I would give it at least 6 months. I received 10% for left ankle strain. Is that for pain? I also have a diagnosis of arthritis in the ankle, which I thought was a separate diagnosis than pain. Yes, left ankle strain is for pain. Is a CMP conducted for a TDIU claim? Yes. I have a spinal cord stimulator in my back that I have service connected. How can I get my hip that was denied and shoulders which have been deferred connected if I can't have an MRI? The x-ray I had isn't showing anything but in pain daily. Claim it's secondary to your back. All right, guys, that looks like all the questions we have for tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. It is my pleasure to help you and answer these questions. I thank you so much for your service. Be blessed, and I hope you have a great week and that your claims go well.